from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend. She chose the light where darkness ends. Eyes that see what most can't find, gift of foresight, disciplined mind, cross held steady, heart on guard, truth cuts clean when nights get hard. She reads the silence, feels the room, past and present start to bloom. Fear don't live.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. What a beautiful day. Here in Canada is very sunny and it's quite lovely. I must tell you, first of all, happy Easter. We are still celebrating Easter, Western or the Eastern Church. It's a month of the Holy Resurrection. So to the old Christianity out there, this is a big month. So it doesn't matter what church you belong to, from bottom of my heart, from my household, I wish you a happy, blessed Easter, and I hope that this summer and spring will be very positive and happy for you. So tonight, I do have my wonderful host, Paul Dale Roberts. Welcome, Paul. How are you today?
Hey, I'm ready for this show because I love talking about Bigfoot.
Awesome. I also have wonderful Donnie Cho, my dear friend. Donnie, how are you this evening?
Doing good. Chilling on a fine Monday evening.
Oh, great. And our wonderful guest today is my great friend and also the person that I admire very much. I do follow his podcast. I must say, we have a great friendship and we share lots of things when it comes to the research and the studies. So I have one and only Grand Duke. Duke, how are you tonight?
Hey, dear. Thanks for having me on your show. And just to let everybody know, my castle here is not on the sun, contrary to what you see coming through the window behind me. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a cloudy, gloomy day, or it'd be even way worse.
Oh, Duke, you are in Montana. I'm in Canada. I know these two are in other parts of the states. Today we are 15 degrees Celsius. So today here is very nice and warm. So I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. So, but I am happy that, we are gathering today. We have more than a couple people in the chat. Everybody, welcome. We have John and Nancy Grandizier, Gary, Christy. Who else do we have here? I'm trying to find. Oh, Gary, my dear friend, you are here. So, welcome everybody. We are very happy to see you here. The sun always shines on the wall, Bigfoot Central. I agree. I agree. Welcome everybody. So, today, Duke, we will kind of dig deep into your research and to your study. I know you've been, different kind of podcasts. You've been also sharing your expertise and your knowledge and a lots of research that you have been done over the years. So, I will first just start with a one simple question that everybody will love to know. How did you start going into the world of a Bigfoot?
Um, I started doing research, active research on Bigfoot after my second encounter in 1977,
Oh.
where I determined that staying out of the woods wasn't working because it came right up on the yard and pestered me anyway. So at that point, I kind of had to learn something about them or live in an underground tunnel system somewhere and never come out again.
Wow.
So that's how I started doing it. After my first encounter was in 72, and I just kind of figured, well, if I don't go into the woods, then no problem, right? No.
Mhm.
Now, 5 years later, there was one right on the yard. So no, that didn't work.
Wow.
Then I was obligated to find out more about them, and that's how I got started with it. So next year is my 50th anniversary of doing field research, and my 50th anniversary of actually seeing one has long since passed. That was a while ago.
Wow, that's quite amazing. Paul and Donnie, I will let you ask our wonderful guests the questions that you have.
Oh, great. Well, I've done a lot of Bigfoot hunting. I've been to, I did some Bigfoot hunting over at San Gabriel Mountains, Lake Tahoe, Mount Shasta, Sierra Nevada Mountains, Mount Diablo, and San Bruno Mountain. And I'm retired from the California Department of Fish and Game or Fish
Nice.
and Wildlife. And I talked to a lot of hunters, a lot of fishermen, and some of those hunters, they knew that I was a paranormal investigator. They would tell me their own experiences. And one story really caught my attention. The hunter said that what was it, his grandfather? Yeah, it was his grandfather was out hunting. And this was back in I think it was 1964 at Mount Shasta. And he claims that his grandfather saw this Bigfoot and aimed his rifle at the Bigfoot, shot it, and it blew up into sparks.
Mm.
And if that story is true, and I asked him, I said, because I'm an author, I write books, I write articles. And I asked him if can I put your grandfather's story in here? He says, yeah, sure, but don't use any names. I don't want to be the laughing stock to all these other hunters. I know a lot of hunters out there. So, but that tells me if Bigfoot blew up into sparks, that means he can transform from energy to matter to energy. Just like Einstein said, E equals MC square.
Yes.
Energy can be to matter, matter to energy. So possibly Bigfoot is an interdimensional cryptid. And that's why we can't find any bones. We can't, the only thing I think with Bigfoot, they find the nests, they find his footprints, all kinds of stuff like that, but they don't actually physically find any dead Bigfoot. They don't find any fecal matter, so it's probably
Correction. There has been fecal matter found. We found it ourselves. Other people have found it.
And
Usually
did they
the issue with that is who are you going to get to test it? And who's going to put out the big pile of money to have it tested? We're all poor. We can't afford it.
Okay, so you didn't have it tested. So how do you know it was from Bigfoot?
Quite obvious from the appearance. You got logs that look like what a human drops out, except the thickness of a soup can and a foot long, and there's 10 of them in a pile. No human left it.
Yeah, but too bad you can't get a solid word from some scientist that says, yeah, I tested it, and it happens to come from an unknown primate.
Well, this whole testing thing, everybody thinks, well, that's the be all end all. You got to get some DNA evidence and have it tested. It's been done. Dr. Ketchum did the DNA study. Go look it up, sasquatchgenome.net. Gives all the results. That was over 10 years ago. She had 113 samples, mostly hair tissue, and there were some fecal samples there too. But anytime you get this stuff, it's like, okay, who are you going to have test it? Because most labs, if you tell them what you think it is, they absolutely won't test it. And if they do test it, well, sometimes they just lie and say they tested it and it was nothing unusual. And then other times, if it's something unusual, they don't want their name on anything. So what are you going to do with it? So that's like, yeah, okay. And as soon as we got some, extremely big budget where you can run around and collect samples and get them tested, and then you got to find the lab to test them at.
So
that'll actually test them.
Duke, you and I did have this question a couple times before. I was a guest on your show, and you were a guest with me a couple different shows, and we did discuss this topic more than a couple times, and we did mention Dr. Ketchum, and her hard work is really truly amazing. So now, if we have so much evidence, do you think that government is maybe in denial, or why they're trying to hide that there is a possibility of basically Bigfoot existing or being with us for already, like Paul is saying, for such a long time. Even I know me and Donnie had a discussion more than a couple times. So is it true that, these primates are not primates? Maybe they're, like Paul is saying, coming from different dimensions. Why the government or the world is being so secretive about these creatures? What is your opinion?
Pulls apart their narrative. That's why. Does not support their narrative.
Mhm.
Pokes big holes in it. Causes all kinds of problems for them. Problems they don't want to deal with. And like one problem they don't want to deal with is not being able to use the timber in North America because it's worth a ton of money. And they get a lot of pressure from logging companies to go out there and log things. Well, if they actually admit that there's, feral people living out in the woods, what happens to the logging?
True.
All of a sudden they can't do it anymore. They made a big ruckus over the spotted owl and cut off all the logging over that thing. And then, of course, found out after the fact it wasn't the only place it was living. But, well, it stopped all the logging in the meantime. And that was just, as far as they were concerned, that was a test run on. They stopped the logging in this area just because they found this little Tweety bird. What's going to happen when they admit that Bigfoot are in all these big forests all over the continent and cutting down their habitat?
It's quite scary. I'm gonna drop a little bomb, I should say, here for everybody in the chat. And as we are sitting here with the panel, I would like to know, Donnie and Paul, please join us. What do you gentlemen think? Why are we having such a big secrets about the Bigfoot? We have so many people witnessing, their existence. We have so many written encounters. We are not talking about people hallucinating, being delusional. Of course, illness does exist. Unfortunately, that's part of this world. I wish everybody is healthy, but so we are not saying, that there's issues, that it doesn't exist out there, but not everybody is taking some substances. Not everybody is having some mental issues. So I'm just wondering, why do you think, and everybody in the chat, please, you can share your opinion too, why they're being so secretive about the Bigfoot existence? Anybody? Paul or Donnie?
Why are they covering up the giants and the Nephilim?
Uh-huh.
Same answer.
Mm-hmm.
Breaks their narrative.
Okay. What do you think, Paul?
Well, just like Duke was saying, the Smithsonian supposedly confiscated all these giants' bones and hid them from the public. They don't want us to know that giants existed and lived on this planet. So, why the government hides so many different things? I mean, just like S4 at Area 51. Bob Lazar was saying that they were reverse engineering UFOs. So again, the government hides this and hides that. Since I was in 97 Bravo intelligence analyst, military intelligence, 501st Military Intelligence Branch in Seoul, Korea, and I know for a fact that military intelligence was investigating UFOs with their reconnaissance satellites. Mm-hmm. Again, it was secret. I had a top secret FBI special background investigation clearance, so I'm very familiar with that.
I'm sorry, you guys. Where's that popping, crackling sound in the
That's what I
background?
was going to say. Where is the popping coming from? Anybody knows?
Yeah, where's that coming from?
I am muting my mic. It's not for me.
Wait,
Hey, Paul, can you mute your mic for a sec? I think it's coming from Danielle.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I mute it, and it's not coming from me. What is that?
Somebody got a dog chewing on a bone in the background. That's what it's called.
No, you know what it is? It's Bigfoot chewing bubble gum.
And this is another thing, you guys. I'm gonna tell you something that you will be all shocked. I'm gonna share this straightforward. Today, while I was off, I am off for a couple days. I earned my fair and square time to be off. So, because I'm celebrating my Easter, what was happening? I got a phone call from Rogers, and they were asking for operation manager from the villa. I said, I'm not the operation manager of the villa. How can I help? They said that they have a huge issue. And I said, you have to call the villa. So they were calling the villa, and I forward, of course, the phone call to the operation manager. I actually think that Canada should never be, hello, my beautiful lady, that Canada should never sell show cable to Rogers since we have them. I don't know how many people, organizations, places are having issues with internet connections. It's just horrible. I'm being honest to you. And we are talking about institutions that pay thousands of the dollars for their securities. They have ITT techs and things like that. And I called the staff and I was like, what's happening, you guys? Did you? Yeah, Daniel. I'm like, they were calling me. And I said, I'm not an operation manager. You shouldn't call me. And they were calling actually back. And then they were like, oh, they just arrived. They're making a big fuss. They're working on towers and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So I even didn't know this is going to happen. But for example, this is just my opinion. I think we should stay with our show cable since we've been with Rogers. Nobody here in the entire country didn't say it was good. They suck as a providers. They're not good, and I really like the show cable much better. This is just my opinion as a customer. So that's what I will say. So now if we are talking about like saying this, going back to the Bigfoot and issues with the Bigfoot. For example, now you don't hear anything. So how long this is going to stay? I don't know.
Fascinating. Hold on before we go on.
I don't know. I'm not in a control of this.
Before we go on, I have a follow-up question for Paul.
Yes, go ahead, my friend.
Paul, after the witness shot the Bigfoot and it exploded into flaming confetti or burst to light, whatever, did he go over and see if there's any tracks there?
He didn't mention that, so no.
So I guess my question to him is, how do you know it was a Bigfoot?
Beats the heck out of me. I wasn't there.
It could have actually been that there was something there, and it wasn't a Bigfoot. And when he shot it, that dispelled the illusion. It could also be there was absolutely nothing there, and a Bigfoot was messing around with them, making him hallucinate a Bigfoot there.
Yeah. I mean, for all I know, he could have projected a tulpa. I don't know. I wasn't there. The hunter was just relaying a story to me.
Yeah.
And working for the Department of Fish and Game, if I were to get real detailed information from the hunters, I could get fired. So I'm not supposed to be doing that. But the hunters sometimes would recognize me from TV, the news on TV, and they go, "You're that paranormal investigator." I go, "Yeah." But and they would just relate the story. But if I start asking questions and writing it down or whatever, I could be in big trouble. So
what I'm saying is, situations like this, it's that, as Pilates would say, the devil's in the details.
Yeah.
He may have been 100% honest and telling the truth. Here's exactly what I saw. Doesn't mean that's what it was.
I know. Yeah. And for all I know, he could have been making up the story.
Considering there are many other stories like that, I'm not saying he's a liar. He saw something. Did he see actually a Bigfoot? I would say probably not.
Probably not. But I had a situation when I went to Mount Shasta. I actually had 2 paranormal events that happened. I had my investigators with me, and I did a wood on wood communication. So I took a stick and hit a tree 3 times, wood on wood communication that Bigfoot supposedly uses. And right behind me, and there was no people behind me. The people were actually in front of me. And there was 3 rocks thrown into the creek like an answer to my wood to wood communication. So that, I mean, a bear can't pick up a rock and throw
No,
it
it was a Bigfoot for sure, and that's why people shouldn't wood knock, because they mean something. You didn't know what it meant. You just declared war on them. They replied. 3 rocks back at you. You want to keep it up?
Yeah, but yeah, that's the situation that happened at Mount Shasta. And
So now you're a paranormal investigator. You know about the reputation of Mount Shasta and how there's supposed
oh
to be
yeah,
like a Lemurian city underneath it.
oh yeah, the last of the Lemurians supposedly live inside Mount Shasta in the caverns.
And you know
UFOs.
about the proximity of that to Bluff Creek where Patty was filmed.
Yeah,
And that there's very likely lava tubes that go from Mount Shasta over to where Patty was filmed.
yeah, yeah. Also, too, we were with Holly DeLauder, and Holly DeLauder was the secretary to Sylvia Brown. And Sylvia Brown's that celebrity psychic. Well, anyway, Holly herself was a psychic, and she looked at me and she says, Paul, take my picture because right behind me, you're going to see something. So I snapped the photo, and right behind her was a tilted UFO.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That blew me away. I mean, how did she know that? It was like, wow. Yeah.
That's very creepy.
That's quite crazy. I have a one question. When we are discussing things like this, I my mind goes everywhere, and I think about many things. I think about things that I see. I think about things that I experience, and the list goes on. And people that experience also themselves, like I said, I respect everybody coming out here and sharing their own story. So now, Duke, I will ask you something. When you have the people coming to you with the stories, and explaining to you, this is what I seen, this is what I experienced, how do you know, especially because this is your expertise and you have so many, hours, you should say days and years, put aside of the study, how did, this is a hoax or a lie or made up the story and this person is saying the truth? Can you give us some hints from your point of the view?
It's like being a detective or a police investigator or something for decades. First of all, you start developing a pretty good sense of, you have your bullshit alert goes off. And teeny details don't add up. And the other thing is, I've heard literally thousands of Bigfoot sighting reports, and they have patterns. And sometimes these people are, they've watched all of them too, and they'll still get it wrong. They don't realize there's teeny little tells. There's certain things that will be in actual sighting reports that casual listeners won't pick up on, and they won't mention it. Or sometimes really weird little details that you hardly ever hear. And they'll bring it up and they'll go, I know this is probably related and blah, 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 but this also happened. And I'll be like, yeah, that's about the 8th time I've heard that actually. So yeah. It is probably related. The other thing is that most of the time I'm not doing cold investigations. If somebody had a sighting over here, let's go check it out. I'll talk to them. I'll take their report. Virtually never do that. I'm either out in the field doing my own investigations, or I'm talking to other field researchers that are on the show showing their evidence. So that doesn't come up with me very often. Most of the time, but by the time I get interested in a report, it's already pretty well known and it's like nearby or something, and I want to go check out the area to see if there's any ongoing activity there or something along those lines. But as far as like, I'm not John Green. I don't care about talking to witnesses. I don't need them to find Bigfoot. I can find it without their eyewitness reports. So, kind of don't care that much. There's plenty of other people that can do that.
Love that. Love
They don't
that.
need
Let
me.
see. Now, everybody, I was wondering, about that. I had a couple questions. People asking me, is it possible, that you can see when people are lying, when people are making up the story? But like you're saying, you listen and then you see. I have another question. Then I will pass you around. I should say pass, this table and the speaker to my other colleagues here. What would be your most scary encounter, or the one that you really felt fearful, something is going to happen?
Well, my second encounter when I almost got eaten by a Janowska was probably the scariest.
Okay. I will leave the microphone to Paul and Donnie. I'm sure they have some questions for you.
I got one. So, dude, what area or state would you say would be the most rich for like Bigfoot research or like results?
And before Duke answers, Duke, I think you're going to say, and tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. I think you're going to say Washington.
No, it depends on how the question is framed. If it's in terms of absolute numbers, Washington wins on eyewitness sightings, I think. Oklahoma wins on raw encounters. They got over 1,200. And if you're going per capita, how many sightings there are as compared to how many people there are in the area, Montana and Alaska win. We don't have as many sightings, but we have way less people too. Look at how many sightings there are out of Alaska. They don't even have 1 million people there. We got 8 million here in Montana, and we got like over 300 sighting reports that I know of. And most of the people here that have a sighting don't report it. So it's probably closer to like 3,000 actually.
Duke, you're from Montana?
That's where I live. Not
okay. Do you know where Deer Lodge is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where my wife is from. And also too, Montana also too has werewolves. There was some hunters that saw 3 werewolves by the creek drinking water.
I don't know if they're werewolves. We got dogmen.
Oh, yeah, dogmen?
There's dogmen here. I've gotten them on video a couple times. But yeah, definitely here.
Wow. Okay. And then I even heard a report where Montana also too had a Wendigo.
Yeah, anywhere where there's about half the year where it's frozen and cold, Wendigos. It's not a Wendigo, it's Wendigo, by the way.
Wendigo.
I'm from Minnesota, where everybody knows about these things. Lakes are named after them. There's freaking lakes named after them, okay? Everybody knows about Wendigos in northern Minnesota because they're subject to the same phenomenon that created them, which is to say excessively long winters causing starvation, creating cannibalism. Wendigos are perverted, mutated humans that were taken over by a dark entity and turned into Wendigos, essentially. And the longer they're Wendigos, the less they look like a human, the more powerful they get. But any of the northern states have them. The southern states don't have them because, believe it or not, there's a temperature range that they can operate in. And if it gets much warmer than like freezing, they can't do it. So you'll get a lot of Wendigo reports during the winter in northern parts of the U.S. because now it's cold enough, they can just come right on down south and cause all the mayhem they want. But as soon as it warms up, they all leave again. And there's actually a story from Minnesota that there's a huge lake there, and there's an island in the middle of the lake, which is so big that it has its own lake on it that has an island on it. And that island on the island in the lake is called Wendigo Island. Because during one of the winters, it got cold enough, the whole giant lake froze over. And they perceived that a Wendigo had made its way across the lake to that island and was staying there during the winter. And apparently it stayed there too long and it was trapped there during the summer. And that summer, everybody avoided that island because they could hear this thing making noises on it, and they didn't want to get eaten. And then as soon as winter came and the giant lake froze over again, apparently it went back home or something because it was never there again. So yeah, Wendigos are, cold based. You're not going to see, Wendigos in Florida. They'll melt. That's actually part of how you kill them. You have to cut them apart, burn their heart. That's the only way to get rid of them. Otherwise, they regenerate just like Wolverine. Can't kill them. But we got more problems up here than just like Wendigo or something. There's other nasty cryptids up here in the north. We got Genasco. We've got the little people, which are more feared than anything. The Narumbi. Its name actually translates directly into people eaters, which tells you what the local tribes think about them. They don't say anything like that about Bigfoot.
Black Widow, Bigfoot, huh?
They know Bigfoot ain't gonna eat you. It's little people that'll eat you.
Hey, Donnie, the popping noise stopped.
Yeah, I think that was coming from Danielle's phone. I think it was her headset. When I was first podcasting with my phone, I was experiencing similar issues.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
She's on backup systems.
Hey, Duke, when I did my Bigfoot hunt over at San Gabriel Mountains, there was a rancher over there that was making like an independent movie, and so we went over and we talked to him, and we said, yeah, there's been some sightings or not sightings. I'm sorry, there's been reports of Bigfoot leaving his footprint into the soil. There's been reports like this, and the rancher, after having a few beers, he confessed to me. He goes, you know what? He goes, take a look at this. And it was a Bigfoot wooden stamper or whatever, is a huge thing like this. And he was making these imprints around the ranch because he didn't like his neighbor. And so his neighbor would freak out seeing these huge footprints, Bigfoot prints, and was thinking there was a real Bigfoot at his ranch when it was actually not.
There was a absolutely contrived hoax like this about, I think, a year and a half, 2 years ago over in Russia. There's a paranormal researcher over there named Tim Morozov, and he had gotten wind that this little village in the middle of nowhere, outer Siberia, was having all this Bigfoot activity. So he went there to investigate. And when I mean investigate, I mean this guy had all the gear you could imagine. He had like 5 or 6 game cams set up around camp, real-time monitoring systems, perimeter alerts, blah, blah, blah. So the first night he's there, he actually gets activity. And he gets his video, what looks like a Bigfoot prowling around. And Tim is very circumspect. So the next night, about the same time, he puts his night vision goggles on, takes his shotgun, climbs out of the tent and goes and hides in the woods and waits a little bit. And guess what happens? The Bigfoot showed up. And Tim snuck up on him and put his shotgun on him and said, if you're not a Bigfoot or, Yeti, abominable snowman, whatever word he was using in Russian, you better put your hands up because I'm going to blow a hole through your chest. And right away, the Bigfoot put his hands up and went, don't shoot. I'm a guy in a suit. Yeah. He just busted your ass. Congratulations. You made a lot of views for him.
And
so anyway, he talked to the guy afterwards, and it was on purpose. They were trying to get more attention from people to come out and spend tourist money looking for Bigfoot in their tiny middle of nowhere town.
Yeah.
There's a message here from Steve Wolf 223. I feel like I could tell the difference between a stamp track and a real one. Well, probably you can, but the other rancher wasn't able to, and he actually was freaking out thinking there was a Bigfoot at his ranch. And the other rancher was having a good time laughing about it and said, I got this guy fooled. So
it'd be hard to do in any of my research areas. I don't live in the mushy mountains. I live in the Rocky Mountains. It's all rock. How you gonna it's on a rock. How are you leaving a track there? And the other thing is that the tracks you do find, that's not the shape of the foot. That's the damage the foot did to the ground as it went past. So if you start finding multiple feet on the same side that look the same, it's fake.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
feet don't do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But anyway, I even took a picture of him holding the wooden stampers, the foot stamp. So, so
Yep.
Bigfoot mystery solved.
I've gotten wind of I've heard of a couple people now that got annoying neighbors that I don't know if they just got the big plywood outline full size and painted it black and put it in the woods in their house, or if they had like some kind of an actual dummy they made or something, but scares the hell out of their neighbors, so they stay off their yard.
Like a scarecrow, but for
Yeah,
people.
exactly. A scared neighbor.
Yeah.
Put up the scared neighbor. I know the one guy said since he did that, he's been getting Bigfoot activity on his property now. So he's not too happy that he put it up. He's like, I'm scaring away the neighbors, but I'm attracting the Bigfoot. This might not be a good thing.
Yeah, they think, well, mating season's right around the corner. They're thinking
Well, they see
they're
the sign
feel
that's
lucky.
oh, this guy must be friends. He likes us around here. He's got a big
Yeah.
placard of us. Come over here and visit. Raid my garbage can. Knock on the door. Get free goodies.
Oh my God, Duke, have you found any Bigfoot nests?
I haven't found anything that I would absolutely identify as a Bigfoot nest. Maybe one time on Mount Sentinel behind me during the winter, and it looked like an area where there was an adult that had a bunch of the little squatchlets there playing, and they had made like a little temporary nest to just flop in while everything else was going on around them. That was a weird spot. I was standing there, and there was old tree stumps that had been logged off, decades ago, and they're in the process of rotting. So they're all covered with moss and falling apart. And every single one of them has a ton of branches sticking out of the top of it, and branches sticking out of the side of it all around it. That doesn't happen naturally. Who's over here decorating the tree stumps? So I'm standing in one place and I just start going like this, filming them. And by the time I completed turning in a circle, there were 8 of them. They were that close. And this is only like maybe 30, 40 feet away from where that nest was. So that was my presumption. And I only found the nest because I was looking at the edge of the wood line, and there was a twist snap 9 feet up, branch about that big around or something. I just grabbed it. Well, that doesn't happen naturally either. So then I went down the gully behind it, and that's where all this other stuff was. So that would be probably the only time I found what I would consider probably was a nest. As far as like ridiculously huge tree structures, yeah, I've got probably several of the world record. The teepee structure that I found documented is, as far as we can determine, is the biggest ever. The alternate planes crew took some measurements of it, and they compared it to what humans have made. And the largest wooden teepee structure made by humans so far is over in Switzerland, and it's smaller.
Wow.
They got this teepee structure is not only the biggest Bigfoot teepee structure, it's probably the biggest teepee structure, period, that anybody's ever put together.
And during your investigations, Duke, you probably come across the broken branches at a level higher than a normal human. So you probably investigate that.
Well, they got a bad snapping habit whenever they got a travel corridor or something, and they're marking it for the other ones because
Right.
that's eye level. They're walking along, they go, oh, snap branch over there, trails over that way, go over there. Wait until they keep following it till they see the next snap branch. Okay, that one's going this way. And they've got other markers too, like if they snap it one direction, like if it's just snapped straight off, it's a trail marker, trail's going that way. If it's snapped and twisted in one direction, there's a side trail pointing that way.
Oh, Duke, Daniel's got a
They
question
don't
for you,
have to
actually.
snap branches off either, because they'll just take what we call leaners. They'll take an already fallen branch or limb off a tree or something. They'll lean it against the tree trunk, pointing in the direction where their trail goes. So it's easy to find their trails, really.
I've got a question here from Danielle. What do you know about their mating habits or their offspring? Like, what are some of the things you've learned in your research about that?
They rarely have twins until recently. We've been getting reports of that. William Lunsford and Stephen Hill down there in Falk, Arkansas, have been getting them on game camera with two little squatchlets, not just one. But generally, they just have one, and the gestation time's like 10 months, and they seem to like really seriously control their population so that the adults don't have too many kids that they can't feed, or the area that they're in can't carry that load as far as available food. So it tends to make it, like common sense would dictate, they're not very squished together. They're kind of spread out because they need the extra room and the food and everything. But yeah, they're better at birth control than we are. You don't see Bigfoot that have 10 kids.
Well, it looks like they're trying.
Oh, I got one for Duke here. Okay, here's another story I got from a hunter. And he said that he saw a UFO, and then a few minutes later, he encountered, with his peripheral vision, a Bigfoot running across this section of land. There's been reports that when people see UFOs, they see Bigfoot. When they see Bigfoot, they see UFOs. And another hunter told me that he actually saw a UFO landing, and the Bigfoot were picking up branches or something like that for the grays, these aliens that look like grays. So like they were working together. Mind you, these are just stories that hunters tell me. I don't know if they're fact or not. But yeah, that's what they're trying to tell me, that the UFOs are connected to Bigfoot, and Bigfoot works for the Greys. What do you think about that?
Bigfoot are connected to aliens the same way we are. They get abducted by them, and they can sense them coming better than we can. So usually that doesn't work very well for them.
Yeah.
As far as there's one researcher that's a psychic, and she says the Bigfoot in her area, which would be Colorado, are actually on good terms with the little grays that live over there, and they get along. But for the most part, I'm hearing just the opposite. They have nothing to do with each other. I know one of my friends in communication with the Sukulu down in Louisiana, and as far as they're concerned, all of the quote-unquote aliens are evil and want nothing to do with them. So, and the other thing is, practical terms, how many Bigfoot reports are there? Well, there's like over 10,000 just in BFRO's locker. And how many of those have anything to do with the UFO? Ridiculously small number. So I don't think it's connected at all.
Okay. Thank you.
If you're wondering, they're not friends. That's about all. It's about all I can vouch for. The data set does not say that Bigfoot and the aliens are friends. Might be just the opposite.
Yeah.
Hey, so earlier you mentioned how the two places, like Oklahoma was a hot spot, Alaska was one. I'm just kind of curious, why Oklahoma? What is it about that place, you think?
Well, I don't know, but they've got a lot of weird cryptid stuff going on. I mean, there was just that woman about a week ago that got attacked by something and had, her face torn off and her bicep eaten. And, she's still in like really bad shape as far as I know right now. But they're trying to investigate and figure out what it was that attacked her, and the horrendous damage to her and the other signs at the site of the incident do not seem to back up it being a normal animal, although of course the government's already come out and went, it was a bear. Nothing to see here. It was just a bear.
Yeah.
It was just an invisible bear that she didn't see until it jumped out and started ripping the what out of her.
It's terrible.
I've been hearing a lot of stuff coming out of Oklahoma as well. I was just kind of wondering if there were any unique.
Well, if you go to western Oklahoma, you're going up into the Rocky Mountains. There's always been plenty of Bigfoot around there. And if you're going into eastern Oklahoma, you're more out on the plains and stuff. And there's like long history of dogman sightings around there too. Plus, God knows whatever other southern cryptids are wandering through the area. So, I just Rags is in the chat room right now, and her son sent me a picture of a track that he got over there in Oklahoma that they weren't even sure what it was, and they sent it to me, and I wasn't sure what it was. So I sent it to one of my other friends, and he goes, "Oh, that's a hog track, really big one. That's Hogzilla there." So they got all kinds of dangerous, weird stuff running around there.
They got Hogzilla. They got Dogman action.
Bigfoot, plenty of Bigfoot. There's huge
Plenty of
amount of
Bigfoot,
Bigfoot.
yeah.
And also, too, Duke, you have the Alaska Triangle. And a lot of people, I think since 1972, something like 16,000 people have gone missing from 1972 to the present time. Do you think that some of those missing people encountered Bigfoot?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of different cryptids up there that could be accounting for all the missing people. And that's assuming that they all did everything perfect. They didn't freeze to death. They didn't fall in a hole. They didn't get killed by an avalanche. They weren't eaten by a grizzly. There's a ton of options here. And assuming none of those things got them, there's plenty of really dangerous cryptids up there too. And the Bigfoot up there have a short patience span because they're not used to dealing with humans. There's some areas up there no humans ever even walked through. There's other areas where it's like, oh, where's the nearest human? 20 miles that way. One guy living in a cabin. That's how populated it is. So they have no patience. They're not used to interacting with humans. They don't know what to expect or what they're dealing with for the most part. And then you've got the other weird, super dangerous cryptids that are up there, which, yeah, they won't hesitate to eat a human. You're on the menu.
That is interesting. Well, I live in Sacramento, California, and I found out in 1953 in Sacramento about I think it was like they said it was like 600 yards from the Capitol. There was a dogman sighting, and then in 1963 there was a dogman sighting in the wetlands in Elk Grove. So, but now things are built up. No dogman sightings. But we did have reports, something like 6 people who claim that they saw Mothman on the Tower Bridge over the Sacramento River. No Bigfoot sightings, but Mothman and 2 dogman sightings.
So the bridge didn't fall down or anything, I hope.
Nope.
Well, that's good. Last time he showed up, a bridge fell down. That's kind of bad. There's been other sightings of him in Chicago too. There's been a bunch of sightings of Mothman.
Mothman doesn't seem to have the best luck with bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got something against bridges.
But you know, I thought when I first heard the story, and I actually went over there and interviewed the guy. His name is Mark Greer, and he claims that he saw Mothman on the Tower Bridge. Well, 6 other people made a report. One guy even called the police because he was totally freaked out that he saw this Mothman. So, but yeah, if Mothman is a harbinger of doom, nothing bad happened in Sacramento except maybe for the budget.
Was that like?
Well, you got Gavin Newsom.
That's what I was going to ask. Was he being elected?
Yeah.
Don't elect him. We got a conversation going on in the chat room right now. Rags and Gnome Drew are talking about the woman that got attacked down there in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And Gnome Drew pointed out that somebody took a pot shot at it to save her. And as Rags just pointed out, did not go render aid to her. She laid there for over an hour before somebody came and saved her. Now, what's wrong with this picture? There's something mauling this woman. You yell and take a shot at it to drive it away, and you don't render any aid to her? Why would you do that? Why would you leave her there to bleed to death? I know the answer, but you guys figure it out for yourselves.
Maybe the guy was scared off.
He already took a shot at it. He's got a gun.
And then it looked up at him. And he was like, "Oh my God, that thing's not Not
At that point, you
natural.
shoot it in the face, and then
Yeah.
it's dead, and the problem's solved. He's got a gun, remember?
Where did this happen at?
Oklahoma.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
So why was it, or why do you think, Duke?
Well, obviously, if it was law enforcement, they're required to render aid, and they would have done something. And if it
Right.
was a neighbor that had enough balls to see this was going on and shoot at it to chase it away, he would have at least called somebody to help her.
Right.
Rags
he
got
didn't.
it. Rags got the answer.
Government.
There's a military base right next to where it happened, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
Daniel's got another question for you, Duke. Aboriginal people and Bigfoot have a long history together. What do you think about this? Why is the connection lost nowadays?
Not every tribe had good relations with them. Some tribes had good relations with them. Some tribes still have relations with them. They just don't talk about it very much. And a lot of the tribes that did have communications with them, they had like one guy that was designated to interact with them if there was some kind of an issue that was coming up, and like, oh, they're trying to hunt over here when we're trying to be there, and we need to work this out. They'd have the one guy in the tribe that go talk to them and hash out all the details and stuff. But you can kind of tell by what tribes call them. If they got a name for them that means like, seriously scary devil or something, they probably didn't have relations with them.
Right.
You can really tell a lot by what their nickname for him was. So it wasn't like completely homogenous. It does seem like the further back in time you go, the more they actually got along with pretty much all the natives on the continent. But humans are extremely warlike, and the Bigfoot are not into that. So at the point where even, tribes start fighting with each other, that, we don't want to be in, you guys are killing each other. We want to stay away from that. And then the ones that didn't really know what they were or something, they think there's some kind of monster. And as soon as they see them, they shoot an arrow at them. That's not going to make for very good relations.
Yeah, and here in California and in Nevada, California, there's ancient stories of Native Americans going to war with Bigfoot. At first, they got along.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, Bigfoot started going into their territory, claiming some of their territory, eating some of the people, supposedly, and they went to war, and Native Americans won. And then in Nevada, the red-haired giants.
That's a different thing. That's a Seneca.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
by their description and everything, those aren't Bigfoot anyway. Those are
Yeah,
red-haired
no, yeah.
just like the Kandahar giants. Two completely different things. And
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, Bigfoot hate the giants. They are not at all on friendly terms. They've gone to war with them several times. And one of the messages they always tell me to tell everyone when I'm on somebody else's show, here's the message from the Bigfoot. We are not Nephilim. 4 simple words. Digest it, memorize it, learn it. It's the truth. And if you want to get your head slapped off by a Bigfoot, go out in the woods and tell him he's a Nephilim. That's the N word to them.
Yeah, Bigfoot would be like, "You just call me a Nephilim? That's so racist."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably a more violent.
They're not into that. Yeah.
They don't like that. So, yeah. Or, yeah.
Grandizer asks, weren't there also ancient stories of Bigfoot and Native Americans teaming up to fight the giants?
Not aware of that one. There's a story in the Ramayana, which goes back like at least 6,000 years in Sanskrit, talking about how Rama's girlfriend Sita got kidnapped by the demon lord Ravana, who had a whole army of giants. And he wanted to go rescue her, but they were on Sri Lanka and he was in India. So he got his allies, the Vanara, to build a bridge for him, still called Adam's Bridge to this day. And it was about a quarter mile wide and 10 miles long, went out to Sri Lanka. So then he had a way to get an army out there. And the Vanara went one step further and said, hey, we volunteer to be your army. We want to kill giants. Vanara in Sanskrit literally means forest people. And if you go look at their description of what the poorest people were, well, they didn't wear clothes. They're kind of covered with hair. They look a little monkey-like. Nowhere does it say that they have tails. And it says some of them are the size of elephants. What's that sound like?
Yep. Sounds
Well,
like giants.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
Daniel's
just
back.
yeah, yay. Hey, just think, Mountain.
Hey.
Hey, Danielle.
I
Just
didn't
like
wanna be rude. See, now it's not popping. I'm so pissed off that you don't wanna know about it. I'm being honest.
Danielle, you need this. This helps. If you're using your phone, it's the way to
I'm
go.
so pissed
Yeah.
off now. The reason why, like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna remove myself because I don't wanna. A lot of people came in, so I'm like, okay, let me back off, and I'll, thank you, Duke, for coming. I love you very much. I love all
Yeah.
of three of you guys very much. But I'm like, I didn't want to interfere the show.
But guess what? It's not crackling right now.
Yeah, you sound good now.
I don't understand what's happening. As soon as I get live into the but now look at us sitting.
Yeah.
There's no issues. Everything is perfect. As soon as we get live, 10-15 minutes after that, that's when it starts. Then it stops, then it starts. What's happening? I honestly don't know. It's the same with the freaking internet on the phone. But on the laptop, and I'm telling you honestly, you don't know how pissed off I get because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shut off because I'm gonna toss this phone and toss it across the room into 100 pieces. But yeah, it's true. But
Daniel, you would be surprised at how often I hear this from other people that have podcast platforms or do interviews with people on sensitive topics. And they'll be right in the middle of the interview where it starts getting juicy, and all of a sudden the connection will go completely to shit. And then when they go back to talking normal stuff, it goes just fine again.
Yeah.
like I have Zoom meetings, right? Because of my work. I have a constant connection on a line. I'm constantly back and forth and everything. I do many things online, and I'm like, there's nothing. As soon as you connect it to the stream, that's when it starts popping. Like it's just nonsense. It's like, and I'm talking to you guys right now. It's driving me crazy.
I get it. I know that feeling.
So I will try again to see, but but while you four are here, so Paul, you are in chapter 6, 11, and 9. Donnie, you are in last two of the chapters, and Duke, you are also in the chapter in my book, as somebody who does do research on the werewolves and everything. So by end of the month, the book is coming out. Hallelujah.
Woo!
So I'm very, very excited. I worked really hard on it. But honestly, I was live yesterday from the church. There was no issues. I was, and so, like I'm talking to you guys right now, I didn't move anywhere from this freaking chair. There's nothing. But as soon
I
as
think the government doesn't like us talking about these subjects.
Yeah, that's why they got a guy with a really bad connection in the background, chewing on peanuts, making noise.
I'll try. And regarding Rogers, I'm not joking because I'm up there. They were calling me, and I said, I'm not an operation manager, and I don't have nothing to do with it. And I called the operation, I texted the operation manager, and I said, please, they were looking for you. And I'm like, why did we ever sell show cable to Rogers? Forgive me, you guys, but since you guys saw me before plenty of the time, Duke, I was on your show. Paul, you were with me. Donnie, you were with me. I didn't have these issues. Since they started, there's lots of issues now that it's happening. But what's happening, I don't know. But okay, I'll get those. But I'm gonna, like, the computer and laptop is directly connected to the Royal up there, so to the tower. So, and when I was connecting, it was coming in, coming out. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with the phone. Who cares? It's still, does do a lot of things. And we were fine. And even Paul and Donnie, you said it was fine, and you just, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. So I apologize for you guys, but you can see I was still there. It's not done in purpose. But I want to say thank you, Duke, for coming. I'm looking forward to see you again. I would like to let you know that I will do the big podcast about the book. I would like all four of you to be connected with me during that time so we can put that together. So, yes.
All right, one quick thing before we run. The giant elephant in the room right now is that documentary capturing Bigfoot coming out shortly, where they
Oh yeah, I
purport,
was going to ask you about that.
and I do mean purport, to disprove the Patterson Gimlin film. It's a load of malarkey. They're grifters. They're just trying to get your money. The fool and his money soon will be parted. But don't just take my word for it. Watch the last two shows I put out, where we prove in every discernible way that they're completely full of crap and they're just there to take your money.
Have you seen the film already? Did you get your chance to watch it?
There's nothing to watch. All they've got in there is a piece of comparison video that was shot after the fact that they're claiming was shot before the fact, which still doesn't explain several important things like where's the suit? How did they make the suit? Who made the suit? If it's a suit, you should be able to answer these questions. Bullshit. Plus, we have the actual evidence that Patty's real, dissected over 30 years in excruciating detail. AI also took all the information from the Patterson Gimlin film, not what anybody says about it. 400 different points that it referenced, went through it, took a week and a half, and said 100% it's not a guy in a suit, 100% it's not a known animal. So AI also weighed in on it. So whatever these jokers are coming up with, it's all bullshit. And I'm calling bullshit right now. Everybody else can jump on it and go, wait, it's all over with. You losers haven't been looking at this video for 55 years and doing breakdowns on it.
People got strong opinions about that movie, Duke. People got a lot of people in the Bigfoot community got some strong opinions about it. That's for sure.
Well, I just wanted to be on the record as being one of the first ones to punch him in the nuts and slap him before it came out. We already proved it's BS. Don't waste your money.
Well, I'm going to watch it if I could find it. I can't even find it.
It's not out yet.
So, yeah.
That's the whole thing. And now they're
Yeah.
saying, oh, well, we were going to show it at other film festivals, but we're afraid somebody in the audience is going to steal it and put it online. Well, you issue a takedown notice and it's taken down instantly. The reason you're worried about it is because this whole premise hinges on this other video that you got, supposedly with the same suit. And you know, the second that comes out, it's going to go right to the actual researchers. They're going to rip it apart and nobody's going to watch your bullshit documentary. That's why you're worried.
All right. Anyways, Danielle, are you still there? So many random noises tonight. Maybe they're being threatened, Duke.
Threatened by who? The government
By
would
the
love it to
truth.
be disproved.
Yeah. All right. Well. Okay. Anyway, I think we'll be wrapping it up soon. I'm just kind of waiting for Danielle to get back.
Yeah, it's like, did you get abducted or something? Damn
Yeah.
it.
She's got to take care of her dog.
Duke, have you ever worked with Ken Gerard?
Ken Gerhard?
Yeah, Gerhard.
No.
Okay.
I see him everywhere.
He down south. He ain't anywhere near where I live.
Oh yeah, that's true. All the way in Montana.
Have you
You're the
did,
only guy I know from Montana.
Have you done skunk ape over in Florida?
Yep. Just
Okay.
showed a really great game cam picture. One of them's back about 2 months ago, right on my channel. Somebody got a great game cam pic of it.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't wait for that movie to come out, and then, Duke, when you tear it apart, I will be there to watch.
Go watch the last
You
two shows.
go
I already did it in advance.
Oh,
There's so
you're
much
not gonna
evidence.
you're not gonna do like the scene by scene where you just tear it apart like clip
I already
for clip.
did it. I already know what's in the film. Bill
Mhm.
Munn, special effects expert, and also somebody who's been studying the Patterson Gimlin film for years, is
Mhm.
in the documentary.
Yeah.
And he says it's not the same suit.
Hmm.
Is anybody else in the documentary even close to being as qualified to make that determination as he is? No. So who gives a rip what they say? Hearsay and slander are not evidence.
True that.
You want to convince me? Produce the suit. Oh no, it burned up. Yeah, you're full of crap.
Yeah.
So far, there's like 6 people that claim they were the guy in the suit. Well, it's no
Yeah.
wonder the impressions from Patty's feet made him think that she weighed about 1,100 pounds, because that's how many people you'd have to
Yeah.
fit in the damn suit.
It got eaten by moths while it was in the closet.
Hey, guys, I got something
Yep.
to tell you. I'm the guy in the suit.
I knew it, Paul. I knew
There's-
it all along. It was
There's
him.
number 8. No, actually, one of them backed out because they got him on camera and said, "Admit you're the guy in the suit," and he was like, "I'm not. What the hell are you talking about? I was never in the suit." But there's already 5 guys before that went, "I'm the guy in the suit." Now, how many guys were crammed in the suit? It's no wonder Patty's butt jiggled, because there's like one guy in one ass cheek. There's another one in the other ass cheek. You know, there's one up there making the boobs wiggle. That's how they, 5 guys in the suit.
Yeah, animatronics, like from Disney World or something.
Or
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. It's a small world after all.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. Well, I think we will call it an evening. Duke, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Duke.
This was fun, man. This was a good time.
Hey, anytime, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we couldn't get enough of Danielle here, but she'll be around, guys, and you'll
She'll
see
be
plenty
around.
of her. Don't worry. So,
She's going in the right direction with her tech. It's actually getting better.
her tech it is slowly but surely improving. We'll
And
get there, guys.
anytime she wants to have me back on again, I can come on, and
Yeah, it'll be
talk about
fun.
Bigfoot related things.
All right. So with that, I guess I'll close out the show. Bid everyone adieu. Check out Donnie Cho Says Stuff. Paul, anything you'd like to plug before we head out?
No, I mean, if you want to look at some of my books,
Mhm.
just Google, Bing me, Paul Dale Roberts books. That's it.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good night. Take
Thank you,
care.
Duke. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. It was a blast. Have a good night.
Born from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend.